It's crazy what's just going on every single day. Let me just give you some of the highlights. Extremists exploit a loophole in social moderation. Podcasts. Now they're saying that podcasts are not as easy for the algorithms to spot hate speech. And so they got to do something because these podcasts are promoting hate speech. Let me give you the next one.
They're letting them say whatever they want on these podcasts.
You can't have that.
You can't have that.
Former Facebook official calls for Verizon, AT&T, and others to deplatform OAN and Newsmax. I mean, you want to talk about creating a problem. You silence people. This is not what Americans do. This is just not what we do. Twitter says, if you were searching for the Lincoln Project amid the sexual misconduct allegations, a bug in the system prevented you from finding that story. Facebook announces a temporary ban on ads for weapon accessories and protective equipment. Manchin now says removing Hawley and Cruz with 14th Amendment should be a consideration. By the way, Lowe's Hotels have canceled Senator Josh Hawley's Florida fundraiser. And the president of Mexico compares social media censorship in the U.S. to the Spanish Inquisition. I mean, where are we headed? The answer is not any place good. Not any place good. Feds over the weekend arrested a hardcore leftist who planned an attack on a pro-Trump demonstration at the Florida Capitol. It's not going to matter who started it. It's not going to matter. Unfortunately, with 300 million people, you're going to have lunatics. You're going to have lunatics. I mean, we voted a lot of lunatics into office, and I think both sides could admit to that. What are we doing? The majority of Americans now say other Americans are a problem. 54% of those surveyed said that other people in America pose the largest threat to the nation, beating out economic forces, the natural world, disasters, viruses, and foreign threats. Other Americans. 51% of Americans surveyed said that political violence would increase in the next few years. Only 18% said it would decrease. The survey followed the violent riot on January 6th. 71% of Americans say the U.S. democracy today is threatened, while only 29% say it is secure. Poll also indicated Americans were cautiously optimistic about President-elect Joe Biden taking office. 51% said that the coronavirus would get better once he took office, compared to 22% that said it would get worse. 48% said the world would have greater respect for the United States, compared to 34% who said the opposite. Poll also showed that the pandemic is still America's top concern. 47% saying Biden's top priority should be the coronavirus. 21% said his top priority should be the economy. 10% said it should be political divisions. 59% of us said that the vaccine distribution in their respective states was moving too slowly. 42% said Biden's biggest challenge once taking office would be to overcome the political divisions in the country. A figure that was reflected later in the poll, 5% of Trump voters said that they held a favorable view of Biden voters, while only 4% of Biden voters said the same thing for Trump voters. How are we going to come together when 96% of those who voted for Biden hate the other half, and 95% of Trump voters say the same thing about Biden voters? Where do you go?
There is no coming together in that environment.
It can't be.
Right. That used to be that one of our strengths, I think, as a country was that you were able to deal with people even when you thought they were idiots. It doesn't seem to be that that's a thing anymore. At least on the left. I mean, I see. Look, I'll grant you the numbers you just gave are the same. So basically, the polling. I'm going with anecdotal evidence, perhaps over polling here, but allow me to at least attempt it, because how many times have we talked to people on the left who say a version of the same thing, which is, when I say something that is out of step with the left, they try to murder me online. When I say something that is out of step with the right, they want to hear about it. They want to debate it. They want to tell me I'm wrong, but they don't despise me.
Not universally true on either side. But yes, that's what we hear from people.
A lot, though.
Yeah, a lot of people.
A lot of people. And people, not necessarily people that just come to us, because you might think, well, maybe they're a little more friendly to the right. But even people just speaking, there's that whole group of people who are maybe opposed to wokeness, right, for example, but generally are left-wingers, right? You did an interview with Eric Weinstein last week?
Yeah.
And he's in a group, I would kind of consider him part of that group, right? He's definitely a leftist. I mean, definitely somebody who's on the left. But, just maybe doesn't think that all opposing speech should be destroyed.
In fact, the exact opposite.
Right. He wants more speech. He's a guy who believes in that. But we've seen this over and over again. People who have to deal with the left, the second they step out, one little step out of line, they are the ultimate.
He talked about that at great length on the podcast about how the left is just destroying him. And destroying him because he's willing to go on shows like mine.
Just go on.
And
Just say things that you don't agree with. You guys disagreed a decent amount.
A big amount. Did you listen to the whole thing?
I only heard clips of it. But
it's really, really good. Mm-hmm. It's this guy, I think, has pretty much the story down of how we got here. Pretty close. He's missing some of the things that, he disagrees with me on progressives and Howard Zinn, and we disagree a lot. Mm-hmm. But he has the general arc right. And it's not going away until we understand it. We talked about it in the podcast. It's available for Blaze subscribers. It's also available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. It came out this Saturday, and it is an interesting discussion because we both agree on the major principles, and that is freedom of speech. Everything in the Bill of Rights. You got the Bill of Rights, I'm with you. And that's kind of where he is. And we disagree on almost everything else. But it is fascinating to hear how, because he speaks out, he's dead to them. He was a source for the New York Times. He did editorials for everybody. He was a big source for people because he's pretty much a genius, and is a big defender of, what he would call liberal or progressive policies. Now, because he disagrees with shutting everybody up, he disagrees with wokeness, he's a pariah, an absolute pariah, dead to them.